This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with the acclaimed brand identity designer and art director direct from Berlin, Germany, the one and only Carla Palette. But before we get to our interview, here's a sneak peek at her incredible work. Carla, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It is so nice to meet you. And I want to know, Carla, first and foremost, where were you born? And was there a specific moment you remember during your childhood when you fell in love with the art world or just art in general?
So I've come from Melbourne, Australia, and I've been in Berlin for 3 years now. And I guess my love for art started, or, that's a broad term, but my love for branding and advertising, that sort of stuff, started very young. I noticed myself, really analyzing even just TV ads, like just everyday brands that I interacted with. I sort of generated this sort of bank in my head where even if a song would play from an ad, I would be able to recognize it and be like, that was Toyota, or that was blah, 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 even just from a very young age. And then I think it sort of carried right through high school, from primary school through to high school, where I was sort of doing every folio subject under the sun. I was told from a young age that it was quite a hard industry to get into. So that sort of, in some ways, maybe scared me a little bit, but then I kept coming back to it. So I was trying other things and I kept coming right back to branding, advertising.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
I also love that it was activated within you from a very young age.
Yeah. I had this sort of brand bank. Naturally, I guess.
I love it. Well, I told you offline, I have an affinity for art directors because my father was a creative director for a very large art ad agency in Manhattan for many, many years. And just growing up, he was always telling me about the team, the creative director and the art director. That's the team. That's the team. And I just also love, Carla, and when the audience, they can go right below this video and read more about you. You have this unapologetic, dare I say, badass boss lady mentality about what it means to be unapologetically authentic in not only who you are, but in how you approach branding. I'm curious where that comes from within you, that unapologetic nature. Were you always like that?
Yeah, I was always like that. I was always I was a bit of a troublesome kid at school. And that was always natural. But then I guess it just it came from I definitely had a natural knack for wanting to break the rules or swim against the flow, you could say. But then it also came from a place of frustration. Once I started working in the industry, from quite a young age, from 18, I got put in job roles as a graphic designer or brand designer, where I was working with very corporate clients, car advertising, or law firms and financial things, and just I guess with brands where I felt really unappreciated. And I just got so frustrated because everything I was presenting just got pushed back. I felt, and then I I got so angry with it that I almost sort of left and tried something else, but then I was like, no, fuck it. Excuse my French. But I'm
I
gonna
love
try.
that word, Carla. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess I got this hunger for like trying to find clients that would work with me and like I could work well with, I guess. And then I became very aware of that I'm just not for everyone. Like I'm great for some clients, you know, and for the sort of lifestyle sector, people who are a little bit braver, but not this corporate world. Like, and that, yeah, so.
But Carla, I love that you set the terms. As a director, I love setting the terms right away. You set the
Yeah,
terms right away on your website, exactly who you are, what
yeah,
and how you think, and also the types of brands that are most likely going to work best with you and allowing you to do your best work. Excuse my
yeah,
dog, who is extremely excited this morning, so you might hear her barking a little bit, Carla.
okay. That's totally fine. I'm used to that. No, exactly. I mean, I think it almost acts as a little bit of a filter now, like because people won't approach me and like they see the way I present myself, and that if that's jarring for them, then they'll go to someone else, and that works well for me too. I have plenty of people that do want to work with me, so I'm not really too worried about like I guess alienating the wrong kind of people because that actually works out best for me.
That's amazing, Carla. I love it. What is it specifically about the beauty, fashion, food, lifestyle sector that this is a natural fit for you?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an aesthetic thing because I guess every artist or you know mainly artists have that like usually have some kind of style, and if you're a kind of designer or art director where people come to you for a certain style, then there usually is a pattern created, if that makes sense, where like I think my style does work best like better for that kind of world rather than some other industries. So that I think that pattern sort of was formed by me having like a certain aesthetic about my work and then these brands resonating with that, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And again, I have to let the audience know for more on Carla's amazing aesthetic and her work. You could read more about her right below this video. Carla, I'm so grateful we're now connected. And my final question for you, if you could give advice to young Carla, what would it be?
Oh, good question. I think I would have tried to do what I did, like what I ended up doing earlier. There was definitely a lot of there was a lot of imposter syndrome there for a while where I was like, am I even like a designer? Like I felt so inadequate because of the brands I was working with that I was like, yeah, there was a lot of imposter syndrome. There was probably a bit of a process from going from like frustrated to maybe a little bit like you know deflated and beaten down to having that fire again. Be like, no, fuck this. There are people out there that I'm good for. I just have to find them and brand myself the right way so that they can find me. So if anything, I probably would have, if I could tell myself something, it would be to like don't worry, it's not necessarily you. It's the people you're like, not the people you're working with, but it's the way that you're branding yourself. So that needs to shift. And I
You're
would have
amazing,
probably sped
Carla.
up that process.
You're amazing. You're absolutely incredible, incredibly inspiring. I'm thinking of all the young Carlas out there who have a new North Star to look to. Someone who, again, who's so unapologetic, so freaking talented, knows what they want, but also realizes that the creative world is hard enough to work with people who, you know, aren't maybe right. And the fact,
Yeah,
again, go ahead.
just that they're not aligned, you know, it's an alignment thing, you know, you have to be on the same page. So they can appreciate or even resonate with what you're presenting to them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Carla, I'm so grateful for your time today. So grateful you're coming on board this exciting new social media app for artists, and so grateful that we are now connected.
Me too. It's really nice to meet you. And yeah, it's been a really fun interview.